Hello, ladies and gentlemen, LMG here, and welcome to my review of Starfield. It's going to be a long one, so maybe smash that like button, grab some popcorn, and let's dive in. Now, Starfield is an epic sci-fi RPG from Bethesda Studios, makers of the Elder Scrolls series and Fallout, perhaps two of my favorite genres. I have thrown thousands of hours upon these, countless hours, from Morrowind to Fallout 4 and the more nightmarish hellscape that was Fallout 76. Though to their credit, they did make it somewhat okay. Fallout 76 is fine. I wouldn't go back in, but it's kind of just dull and not very great in my opinion anymore. But I've been there, done that. I played about 400 or 500 hours, so. Now this game, it is in a way Todd Howard's a magnum opus, his dream game. They always wanted to do a sci-fi game, and the studio has been wanting to make this game for quite some time. 6 years in development, 500 plus developers, and a budget of 200 million. And I don't think that includes the advertising, because advertising that last week was pretty crazy. They had Imagine Dragons, all kinds of stuff. They spent a lot of money on advertising, but I do think it paid off. Yeah, it definitely seems to definitely paid off. But with over 10 million players played already, also including Xbox Game Pass, doing very well on Steam concurrently still, 200,000 plus. I think it is definitely a win for Bethesda. Now, I've sunk about 120 plus hours into Starfield already. I did finish New Game Plus, and we'll get into some spoilers later, but I will give you a big warning before we do. I do want to play into the final. It does play into the final score, that's why I do want to discuss the ending. Now, going down the list, let's first talk about graphics. Playing this on PC with maxed out settings. We also did get the NVIDIA. I did use the NVIDIA DSSL mod as well to get most out of it. Play VRs on Xbox as well to double check that. It does hold up well on the Series X, though that is locked at 30 FPS. Yeah, it was a weird financial sponsorship. They decided to team up with AMD for Starfield and launching out without NVIDIA DSSL support, though they are going to bring it in the future. They're actually planning after that, and mods are out to fix anything that is, graphically for the most part. We'll get into already amazing mods in the future videos because there are already 2,000 plus mods out there. Now, graphically in the DNA of the game, I do see Fallout 4 and even 76 heavy influences and designs of the buildings, and even the outpost system, though working a fair bit better than it did in 76. It is decent, it is competent. Yeah, but it is straight up from the Fallout series. And I'm also interested. Now, this does make me wonder, is this system going to be in part in Elder Scrolls 6, which is now in just early development? It's still going to be at least 2026 for Elder Scrolls 6, guys. It has been a long wait. I was recently watching a interview with Todd Howard from 4 years ago, saying it was going to be a little bit of a wait, and I'm like, it's still going to be quite a bit of a wait. I do think it's going to get a 10 out of 10 for graphics, though. Everything is super slicked up. Planets, everything is top notch, in my opinion. Yeah, I have been running on ultra settings, but I do be aware we have a pretty beefy PC here as well. I also do want to mention the physics in the game, quite good. You notice we're space jumping around a little bit with the boost pack. Graphically, you shoot somebody, they die, they're gonna go flying out of their hand. Zero-G combat, quite good as well. We'll get into combat in a second. I do want to also have a note on the voice acting. Now, Bethesda does always have every NPC down to the smallest one with voice acting. Well, sometimes multiple NPCs by one voice actor, but you really don't notice that. And you'll recognize some pretty major voices you remember from other Bethesda titles. And even Turn of the Adoring Fan, if you're crazy enough to pick that perk. Sadly, though, a lot of people recommended that one, but New Game Plus, you will see him every time, so do be aware. All the voice acting is top notch. I've enjoyed it immensely, though I do give a demerit for having to listen to Constellation members berating me for several hours on end for my decisions I made throughout the playthrough. But maybe I am a horrible person, but yeah, there's multiple people lining up, and it does seem like every decision you make they're not happy with. I couldn't make them happy even when I was doing the right thing. Yeah, I'm just saying, Sam Co., you can't yell at me for murdering a whole space station of UC members if you were actively helping me murder said people. Because he complained about it, but he was the one shooting too. Just talk about glass houses. Now let's talk about some of the weak points in Starfield, and there are a few. The AI for certain. This already is fixable in a mod somewhat for companions, because if you try to stealth in this game, It's seldom stealths, even if you have better stealth later, because the companions will definitely mess that up. Yeah, I would definitely highly advise you leave them behind. It does seem even if you silently break and wind, every enemy in the whole entire building will be on to you. I think in this department, Bethesda still has a long way to go. One of the biggest immersion breakers for me, and I do think immersion is quite key in a game like this. A lot of people talking about immersion breaking when they were playing. They're not in any game breaking way. Yeah, the wacky AI behavior. They're standing on tables, sitting in chairs, just all in all weird stuff. It's just silly, silly Bethesda quirks we always talk about. Though nothing game breaking. So there's a lot of silly stuff still abound in the Starfields. The most memorable one for me, though, is a habitable planet. Andrea was coming out to me. We were talking about her past, and I won't spoil any of that during the conversation. As the real world is still happening as you're around here talking, she straight up got blindsided by like this big dinosaur creature. Just got body slammed almost, and just interrupted the conversation. And it was funny. Yeah, it was definitely funny, but it definitely pulled me out of the moment. And another thing to note, though, not for me personally, has been a major complaint: lack of a proper mini-map or a map system, especially in the cities. As for me, it reminded me of the good old days of just like figuring it out. But I do remember even in Morrowind, they had a pretty good map system, especially in town. So it is a design that makes me kind of wonder a little bit. The third thing would be the menu system. Oh man, it is a sea of menus at times, and on my PC with a great SSD, barely noticeable. There is also a mod that speeds that up, though not compatible with the Star UI inventory. It does make it about instantaneous. On Xbox, though, it looks like they tested it was about 20 seconds for loading screens at times, which I could imagine is quite immersion breaking. That would definitely throw me off. Yeah, a bit of immersion breaking, even a bit of wall punching as well. Let's also not leave out procedural generation. The tiles and everything related to my 100 plus hours. I've never hit a border to a tile. I know I've had people in chat, comment section complain about this. Oh, I can't walk for 40 minutes straight, and you gotta be going out of your way to hit it. Like, dear God, why would you? It does take 40 minutes in one direction. I haven't tested myself because I'll go hit a tile for a while, go explore a couple things, and then I'll plan to hop again. But maybe that is just me. But it is connected, so you can go to the next tile deal. You can't just immediately walk back. So I may be slightly immersion breaking, but come on, you're reaching there a little bit. I know No Man's Sky you can, but to my opinion, we'll also talk about No Man's Sky for a second. I know No Man's Sky's come. I dip in every once in a while, but it just doesn't do me from what I remember when it originally launched. It just was a hot mess. Did not enjoy. So that still holds with me to that day. But everybody's different. And after so many landers landing on a random planet, I will start to see some of those same style places. Though, it all randomly generated. You'll see the same buildings every once in a while, though with varied enemies and varied layout. You do tend to notice that. Yeah, but I'm at 100 plus hours in. I do tend to notice these things now. But is it bad? I don't think so. I don't really loot as much. I'm moving into New Game Plus, but we'll get into that as well. But now I know some of the more positive things. For one is the combat. Because Bethesda had id Software, makers of Doom, help out with some of the pointers and gunplay. As you saw in the 2022 trailer, I think the gameplay was a little stiff. It is much improved. And the combat is pretty well polished in all aspects, making for a very, very good time, I feel. I've actually yet to pull a single skill point. On my skill tree, I have yet to put anything in there, other than my Ronin starting for melee. And I'm not really a melee guy in this. I generally do love the guns. You'll still feel all the guns, everything gun-related, like mods and all that. And even this spaceship suit design. Did all the modding and everything. Workbenches. It is all Fallout 4. But as like Todd says, it just works, and it works well, I think, in Starfield. So top notch on the combat gameplay front, and space combat is fairly fun for what it is. Though later on I just got turrets and I didn't even deal with it. You can steal ships as well, but I generally do that on the ground. Though a couple times I've gone to steal, and a funny anecdote, I've gone to steal a ship, go up as I'm stealing like a Crimson Fleet or a Spacer ship, and they get blasted out of space before I could get to the cockpit by, United Colonies, Freestar Collective, etc. Though space is somewhat limited into zones, as someone did famously try to fly all the way to Venus to get a JPEG of the planet. I think it's a minor quibble. I've enjoyed space, fast traveling around. I don't think why do I want to fly the entire system? I mean, I get it, and someone will probably make a mod that'll work well for that. But for me, if I do that, I would play like X4 Foundations, Elite Dangerous. I do highly recommend if you're looking for more space simi game, X4 Foundations, highly underrated, do recommend. And the shipbuilding itself is a fairly great thing. You could use a little TLC. There's a couple mods for that as well. But I sunk a fair numbers into this shipbuilding, and I really do love it. Especially going into max out your piloting, starship design. You can make some really, really great things. And this is a major story spoiler plot that I would not feel I had to talk about in the review, as it did really affect my overall feeling. Yeah, my feelings on these score really did change when I finished the game. So you might want to mute the video for a little bit, lest you be spoiled, though I will try to be somewhat vague. And at the end you will find unity. And though there are several different things before it all leads up to, so you have a couple little choices, minor things, but overall it does all lead to the same spot. Overall, Bethesda games always seem to have these amazing faction quest lines. I especially enjoyed Ryujin. It was kind of my favorite, being a bad corpo. United Cities Vanguard, a lot of people toted that one, though at times I felt it kind of dragged because I had to keep going to NPC. Now go report to this one, go talk to them, and it just kind of dragged at some points. Yeah, the main quest line does falter at times, though there are some really great parts as well. Though I will share an anecdote, because I finally recall a Constellation member got murdered during the main plot, though we actually did get engaged. I thought it would stop her from yelling about my bad moral choices, but later up, because she did have a funeral, and I had already gotten married before the funeral was even done. So, good times. The main quest, you'll probably find this quite repetitive in multiple New Game Plus, is the temples, and this was really kind of a thing I've heard a lot of people complain about, and I don't mind it myself. And finding myself looking at touching down a planet, walking 600 meters, because it's always like 600 meters to a temple, to slightly upgrade a power. That's part of the gameplay loop, and getting more relics again to do it all again. So in your first playthrough, you probably spend a lot of time, and I do feel like this falls flat, as it shows off any parts of the main faction quest line completed, and if you romance a companion at the end. It doesn't do it great. It's just really quickly it shows out some of your actions, consequences, but not really. It kind of fell flat for me, honestly. But what about all the zany side quests though as well? Because I thought that would affect it a little bit. Because I did come to planet, I found a bunch of clones, and I found Genghis Khan's clone. I unleashed him on the universe. Game's like, oh, you're gonna regret that. But it never panned out. Now you can walk here just back to your universe, and you don't have to go to Unity. It kind of doesn't really. It kind of mentions that, but you can just at any point you walk back, uninstall your the relics, and you can go living on in that universe. Though yeah, if you do decide to go back through Unity, you do lose everything. All that stuff you built, the ships, you can't take the ship with you. Nothing you can take with you, other than your skills, your powers, and your level, of course. That's it. That's all you get to take with you. So a lot of that things you built, the hours you spent, maybe you did some decorations, set up a nice house. Yeah, that's gone. And this was a little immersion breaking for me as well, because I did my second multiverse. Other than some people being gone because they stepped in the ship with me, which I guess would be the thing, I can't even tell. So I think you're going to have to do this multiple times, and I've got to go find a dozen relics. I got to go sit on planets again, and it makes me less invested to go even do a quest, because I did almost all of them except for the Freestar Rangers, which I'm currently doing now. Complete that, but yeah, it does kind of take away a little bit of the effort to play through, because I think I just rushed through it again just to see if this other difference is better. Because I did hear about, there's multiverse, like everybody in Constellation's plants, but not everybody's probably plants, so it's probably minor little things. I think you would have to dive into it quite a bit to see a return, so that might be up to you as well. I'm hoping with the Starter Space DLC, though, they had to have some DLC coming in 2024, We'll get some more main story expanding on that, but we'll definitely have to see. Yeah, but with modding support already in the 2,000 plus mods, and a financial hit, I think we're going to be talking about this. We're going to be playing about this for quite some time. Now, many hours in, I was feeling pretty great, and I was feeling this was at 10 out of 10, but little things started to pile up, and honestly, the ending and the gameplay loop going forward on how I want to approach Starfield. Am I just jumping from universe to universe, chasing the carrot? Now, this new universe I'm just not as invested in, knowing it's all pointless at the end. Other than my own enjoyment, do I just murder everybody, move on? I could kill everybody on all the planets. Just move on. They wouldn't notice. They wouldn't care. So I think it does kind of, ruin that a little bit. But that could be to you. Maybe you enjoy the endless gameplay loop, though. But I've already gotten over 100 hours. Definitely got my money's worth to come for some time now. But for the game's wind up winning to a great game, does deserve a seat at the Game of the Year. Because not a lot of people talking about that. Contenders with Baldur's Gate, Zelda, Final Fantasy 16. But does it deserve to win Game of the Year? No. No, Baldur's Gate, I think, we all gotta admit, it definitely does deserve the win. So ladies and gentlemen, final score does come to an 8 out of 10. It is a good game. I would even go so far as a great game. Is it a masterpiece, though? No, but it is definitely a pretty good Bethesda game. I would definitely say it is probably one of their best technical games. Obsidian, I mean, technically it's not made by Bethesda, but Obsidian's Fallout New Vegas is still, I would compare these two to about the same, but unfortunately, Fallout New Vegas has aged. We also recently just got a leak as well, because they're working on a Fallout 3 remaster and Oblivion remaster as well, so that is somewhere down the line, hopefully. But overall, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, 8 out of 10. I would definitely give it a recommend. On Game Pass, definitely. And definitely on PC as well. And don't worry, about the next 10 years, Todd is going to be selling this game in many, many editions. Alright, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to hit that like button. It does help out a lot. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you guys in the Starfield.